Welcome along to the deep dive. This is where we take the sources you send us, really peel back the layers and try to find those surprising insights. Think of it as your shortcut to getting properly informed. Today, we're digging into some really quite profound ancient wisdom, our source material. It's excerpts from a text called the Sutta Nipata.
hmm A collection of Buddhist discourses.
Exactly. And specifically, we're looking at a dialogue called The Questions of Udaya. That's from chapter 14. It's basically Udaya asking questions to the Bhagava, who you might know as the Buddha. So our mission today is to explore these, fundamental ideas about liberation, what actually ties us to the world, and the path to this state called Nibbāna.
That ultimate peace, yeah. Freedom from suffering.
Right. And the idea is to get these deep insights without, wading through dense academic stuff.
And this text is great for that. The question and answer format, it cuts right through. It distills these huge ideas into really direct insights, like a timeless guide almost.
Okay, let's get into it then. Udaya starts off with, it feels like a really core challenge. He asks the Bhagava to explain aññāvimokhaṃ,
Knowledge liberation.
knowledge liberation, right? And also avijjaya pabidana.
The breaking up of ignorance.
So how does the Bhagava tackle this? How does he define this liberation? It sounds like a pretty big concept.
It is, but the answer is surprisingly precise. The Buddha explains it's not some, abstract idea. It's about abandoning specific things, specific states.
Like what?
Well, things like the craving for sensual pleasures, dejection, that feeling of being down, also dispelling sloth or apathy, and preventing remorse or worry.
Okay, so shedding negative states.
Yes, but here's the really interesting bit. It's not just about stopping things. It's also crucially about cultivating something.
Ah, right. What's that?
Pure equanimity and mindfulness. And importantly, this is preceded by reflection on phenomena, really thinking about observing things as they are.
So it's not simply avoiding the bad stuff, it's actively building, positive mental frameworks. That feels quite different from just, say, abstaining from things.
Exactly. It's very active. It's about cultivating a specific quality of mind based on careful observation, without judgment. You're actively shaping your inner world.
That idea of actively shaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. And it seems to lead straight into Udaya's next questions, which feel even bigger somehow.
They go right to the heart of attachment.
He asks, what is the world bound by? What is its agitation? And by the abandoning of what is Nibbāna said to be? I mean, those are huge questions, especially that last one about Nibbāna.
They are. And the Buddha's answers are incredibly concise, but they pack such a punch. They really make you stop and think.
So what does he say?
He says the world is bound by delight. The specific term is nandī.
Delight, not suffering.
Delight. The clinging to pleasant experiences, the wanting more. Its agitation, he says, is vitakka, which is thought. Constant thinking, mental chatter.
Okay, so delight binds us, thought agitates us. And Nibbāna?
Nibbāna, he says, is attained by abandoning craving, tanhaya.
Craving. So delight, thought, craving. They seem quite simple, almost everyday things.
Exactly. And that's the insight, isn't it? These seemingly simple mental processes, enjoying things to the point of clinging, the constant stream of thoughts, the underlying craving. These are the things that bind us and cause agitation. They are the chains.
It really flips how you might think about your own mind, doesn't it? That the pleasure-seeking, the constant internal monologue, that's the actual problem. Even scrolling through social media, maybe, that little hit of delight.
That could be part of it, yes. Or the mental replay of conversations, planning, worrying.
Yeah.
That's the vitakka, the agitation. It's a very direct look at our own internal landscape.
Okay. So then Udaya's final question in this section, also fascinating. He asks, how does consciousness cease for one who lives mindfully? That sounds intense. Cessation of consciousness.
It does sound intense, but again, the answer is profound in its simplicity. The Buddha replies that for someone living mindfully, consciousness ceases by not delighting in feelings.
Not delighting in feelings. What does that mean exactly? Does it mean becoming numb?
Not numb, no. That's a really common misunderstanding. It's about changing your relationship to feelings, whether the feeling is internal, like an emotion, or external, like a physical sensation.
So noticing them, but not getting hooked.
Precisely. Not clinging to the pleasant ones, not pushing away the unpleasant ones, not taking delight in them, as the text says. It implies this deep equanimity, this detachment that leads to a profound stillness, a quieting of the mind's constant reaction.
Right. Okay, so let's just quickly recap this journey. We started with understanding liberation and breaking ignorance. It's about abandoning specific negative states and actively cultivating mindfulness and equanimity through reflection.
Hmm.
Then we looked at what binds us that delight or clinging and the agitation of constant thought,
Driven by craving, Tatteya.
driven by craving, all right? And finally, the path to the cessation of consciousness, which isn't about suppression, but this deep practice of non-delight, of not clinging to feelings as they arise.
Yeah, and if you think about how this connects to, well, to now, these ancient ideas feel incredibly relevant. They give us tools, actual techniques for navigating our own minds, especially with the constant flood of information and stimulation we deal with today.
It's like understanding the internal triggers for our own stress or agitation.
Exactly. And finding a way to sort of step back from them, to manage that internal landscape rather than being constantly swept away by it.
Absolutely. So here's something to maybe think about as you go about your day. What could it mean for you personally to practice not delighting in feelings, not in some abstract way, but in the middle of your everyday life? Could this ancient idea actually be a kind of shortcut to finding some clarity, some freedom from that feeling of being overwhelmed? Maybe the answer isn't out there, but looking inward. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope you continue exploring these fascinating ideas on your own.